Indian women have a very different ergonomics. Thinking also, right? People in India or anywhere generally first think fit is length theek hai to it's fine. But no, it's actually the ball girth and how your arc sits on the foot that matters more. Understanding that the fit, comfort and design is marrying very well. It's like creating a biryani, right? So it's same way with design, right? Every aspect of thing needs to come together.
In a rhythm.
In a rhythm.
Like music.
Yes. I am a very big foodie, so I went with the food example, but that's beautiful too.
So you are in the business of value creation for your customer.
Yes.
So you make sure that the customer feels that he's getting more than what he paid for.
Yes.
She paid for. One of the best teachers when you do business is your customers. The second best teacher is your competition. And you learn from both of them. And you need to be humble enough to accept what your competition is teaching you, and you should be absorbing enough to understand what your customer is expecting from you.
It's very easy to get swayed by trend. How you adapt it to your brand is where your creative challenge comes from.
So I love to say that India is a very young country, and I actually mean that. And when you come across young entrepreneurs, it's all the more fun to have conversations. Zero to Infinite is a series of inspiring conversations with entrepreneurs who are really recreating the story for the country and for themselves as well. So friends, welcome to Zero to Infinite, a podcast that builds and talks to people who build businesses, belief systems and identities from scratch. So today is one more episode with a very interesting and a very inspiring youngster, a very young entrepreneur. And today's conversation is not about taste, not about fashion only, but it is about decision making in brand building and in understanding what modern consumers actually want. I would like to introduce my young guest today on the show, Neha Kumthekar, who's the co-founder of a brilliant concept, a brilliant brand, a brilliant company called OCEEDEE, a brand that has quietly built strong identity in the footwear space by focusing on something which most of the brands overlook: how something feels rather than just how something looks. So a very interesting concept. Neha, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Zero to Infinite absolutely suits you so well. And I've always believed that business skills can be learned, but taste is something far more instinctive, is what I know. And let's explore this. You're building in a space where taste is everything. So I would like to have your insights and inputs on the journey so far and the great journey that you have already embarked onto. So do you think taste is something you develop over time or something you either have or you don't have?
So it's a mix of both. I personally feel that some are born with adept understanding of aesthetics, the look, something that so this feels good, this doesn't, and I think that's what we call as gut feeling. But in my personal experience, taste is something that nurtures over time. It is a combination of experiences that we go through, people we interact with, the spaces we engage with. And I personally see that through my journey. When I was here in India, I went US, different transitional episodes of your life. And I think eventually that instinctive feeling turns into what we define as a point of view, and that is what I would call it as a taste. At OCD, the same translates. It's not something that I design, but at how it feels and easily fits into a women's closet today is what would matter the most. And it will be subjective, right? How I look at it versus how would you look at it, a particular product would be different. So it is evolving, it is a part of the journey, and that's how everybody looks at it.
Did the international exposure help you in building your brand or building the right attitude towards the brand that you have already built? Did the international exposure help you?
Definitely. I think, international market is more trend forward. India sets in a couple of seasons back. Things are changing. Definitely, digital makes a lot of difference. But there was a lot of concept of customer experience that I learned there. In US, no questions asked, the promptness with which some, experiences are delivered. I think that's something that, tends to counter the jugadu approach sometimes India has. And I think that is something which at core I've always maintained at OCD, that no matter what, we have to listen to the customer. It has to be more personalized. And that makes a whole lot of difference, because product can only take you to a certain level. It is the experience that will bring people back to
So
you.
you're a women-centric product company.
Yes.
Just like one of the companies in which I have strategically invested is a company called Bod Active.
Okay.
It's only for activewear for women,
Mhm.
activewear and leisurewear for women, and BOD stands for Build Optimum Daily Discipline.
Very nice.
So what does OCD stand for? What would you explain behind the brand name?
So OCD, as the name goes, we translate it to the idea of having perfection. And the concept came from the idea that women are always dabbling between getting that perfect design and the comfort, and they're always compromising on one another. So there's the concept of perfect pair of shoe is an illusion. So with OCD, that find of that perfect pair or that obsessive search is an end, and that's where the brand becomes a solution for today's modern Indian woman.
And you also very interestingly spell it out, right? How
Yeah,
do you spell it?
It's phonetically spelled out. So
Uh-huh.
OCEEDEE.
Fantastic. That's interesting. Was there ever a moment, Neha, where you felt that the design and the aesthetics that you have created was something that was missing in the market?
A lot of times, even today. So when we started our journey, we of course, went with design led first. And the primary reason came that when you look at India as a market, right, there is a big spectrum. On one end, you have international brands that are over designing, very avant garde designs out there, but they're expensive, of course. We know how much work goes into it. Then the other spectrum is, designing for more comfort, more mass sort of price points. So somewhere in the middle, there's a large segment of women who are still looking to get that concept of innovation, experimentation on design without losing on the comfort, but also at a psychologically comfortable price point. And that is where we saw the gap. And we feel that, OCD has been the solution for over 11 years that we've been around.
Wow, that's excellent. 11 years is a long period because you can sustain that long only if you're on the positive side of profit and loss, right? So, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Achieving the mark of crossing 10 years as an entrepreneur is a great achievement. So, Neha, when you look at a product today, what do you see in the product which generally people miss out to see?
I would have to say thoughtfully designing the product. At OCD, the first thought process, of course, starts with what's the inspiration going to be, how the shoe is going to look, but then how we beautifully translate it into a sample, saying that how every strap is going to sit. Is it going to be comfortable? Are the pointed toes not too narrow for a wider feet? Going through multiple, wear trials, understanding that the fit, comfort, and design is marrying very well. It's like creating a biryani, right? It is like the perfect recipe only comes if the spices are all in the right proportion, chicken is very well marinated, then everybody will have an extra. Uske upar badam kishmish dalo, it's perfect. So it's same way with design, right? Every aspect of thing needs to come together
In a rhythm.
in a rhythm.
Like music.
Yes, I am a
Different
very
people-
big foodie, so I went with the food example, but that's beautiful too. But
different people playing different instruments, and the
Right.
rhythm is so magical that people
Right.
get intertwined with what's happening in the
Yes,
arena.
yeah. So I personally feel that there's a lot that happens behind the scene, and thoughtful design. Like, as a designer, it's very tough to always let go of what you create, right? You emotionally get attached to design.
Absolutely.
But to translate whether this will sell or not, whether it will be comfortable or not, that is where the reality comes to, and you grow with that exposure and experience. And I think that's what we have learned. A lot of stories I'll share ahead, but from day one to now, the evolution of product has also been significantly different.
Excellent. And if I strip everything away, the design, marketing, social media, Neha, what do you think OCD is offering that most brands don't offer?
I know it may sound repetitive, but again, the combination that we spoke about, because it's definitely something that's missing in the market, where a very design led thought process with comfort at a accessible price point, right? And India is a price sensitive market, and we have the potential to grow through it. But how do you kind of democratize fashion is something where we are really playing our game right.
So you are in the business of value creation for your customer.
Yes.
So you make sure that the customer feels that he's getting more than what he paid for.
Yes,
She paid for. But the she also gets paid for by some he at times, right?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
So excuse me with that. So what would your customers miss if tomorrow OCD just disappears? What would your customer miss?
They would miss that experience of getting that perfect combination of shoes. Again, the kind of designs that are coming through. And I think most importantly, I feel the way our shoes are designed, it fits very easily in a women's closet. So, that go-to pair for our shoes are very versatile. So I'm wearing this shoe called Madison. I have seen, like, I'm wearing it with a formal dress. I have seen women style this with a sari. And that is where the beauty comes, right? It becomes your go to pair. You don't have to have too many variety in your closet. And I think that is something where our minimal design language really hits the mark. While there are multiple options, I'm not denying that. I feel OCDs, that's something that we offer best.
I'm sure what we wear in the feet constantly keeps communicating with our brains more than so on what we wear in terms of clothes. So how you feel in your feet is critically important because you're using them all the time, whether you're sitting, standing, walking, whatever. So that becomes one of the most important element on your body. It's directly communicating with your brain all the time. So it has to be comfortable apart from looking good and great, right? Fantastic. So in those early days before things started working, what felt the most uncertain for you personally? See, today you have traveled a journey of 11 years. Right. So today it all looks very hunky-dory, very successful. You are making decent profits and great valuation and all that is so good. But during the starting days, what was that one feeling of uncertainty that you felt was most uncertain?
So I do not come from a fashion background, and nor does my partner. So for us, it was all about a passion and a gut feeling that we entered OCD with or started OCD with. There were often moments of second guessing, every decision, the fear of whether our vision will be accepted, translated into the Indian consumer's mind space and closet. But as the ball started rolling, we started getting experiences, we started learning on the ground. And I feel, the way I describe our journey or any entrepreneur's journey is like a bungee jump, right? The first leap is always scary. The first fall after you up and then you down, that sensation remains with you all the time. But once you get that, there is a rhythm of, movement, there is a learning. Until you don't do that, you'll never grow. So I feel for us also, there definitely remained an uncertainty of, overthinking rather than and like always trying to achieve that perfection. But I guess time takes care, the experiences, and I feel that the trust that the customers start building in you goes a long way. I mean, I still have customers that are with us from day one of our business, and I think more than anything, like volumes are great, but still that one customer will always be something close to my heart for throughout the journey of OCD.
So the bungee jumping days are over. Now you are addicted to bungee jumping and it's a sport that you have excelled in these 11 years for your business.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Excellent. Because
Every
those are the initial days of gestation period, yes, where consistently your operating cost is more than your operating revenue.
Yeah.
Managing those days really differentiates you from the rest of the crowd.
Yes.
So how did you do that? Because it's all about mindset training also, right? On how you master your mind, yeah, rather than being a slave to it.
Right.
So how were those days in the initial 1, 2, 3 years?
It was honestly just going with the flow, to be honest. Like, I think we were, as I said, we both didn't come from that background. We definitely came with our own skill sets. Like, Anshul is because of his engineering and MBA combination, he's very good with business execution. My background comes in people understanding and the creative side of it, so that fit beautifully like a yin and yang for us. And while we didn't have the core of fashion, we learned on the ground. We learned going to different markets of India, where right from Chennai, like, and people made of fun of us that two young kids, like, going around asking ki 20 square foot leather chahiye, and people are knocking off where 1,000 square foot and above is what people are ordering with them, to setting up how shoes are actually made, to interacting. We used to do 2 exhibitions per month pre-COVID, where our initial concept of what the product should be was completely shattered. Our first collection was 4-inch heels, very strappy sandals, launched at 15,000 and above. Soon reality set in that this is not for I mean, while people would appreciate, it's not a business scalable model for us. But these exhibitions is where we both stood there for hours, seeing how the customer is interacting with our product, what is getting picked, and then doubling down then on certain categories, certain comfort aspect. We soon realized that initially our shoes were very narrow. Indian women have a very different ergonomics. Thinking also, right? People in India or anywhere, generally first thing, fit is length theek hai to it's fine. But no, it's actually the ball girth and how your arc sits on the foot that matters more. Because as you were mentioning, it's the hours that you are going to stand in it that's going to make a difference. So all of this learning is something which kind of kept our product evolving, and then cash flows are something that automatically turns on. And I think that's where Anshul really has a good grip of everything coming through, balancing that out. But I do feel that in the initial days, you need to balance both together, because if you are restrained by one or the other, the too much of brand building or too much, cash flow conservation, I feel that you will tend to not grow or build something very valuable. I think that's something which we were beautifully able to, achieve, where that aspiration for the brand automatically started showing in the books as well.
Fantastic. So you two co-founders complement each other rather than having competing skills.
Yes.
So you all complement.
Definitely.
One of the best teachers when you do business is your customers.
Yes.
The second best teacher is your competition.
Yes.
And you learn from both of them. And you need to be humble enough to accept what your competition is teaching you, and you should be absorbing enough to understand what your customer is expecting from you.
Right.
I'm sure you must have done both. Who is a better teacher to you, your customer or your competition?
Customer.
Your customer.
Any day.
So this pop-up stores or the personal interactions that you had with your customers, where there was a first-hand experience exchange
Yeah.
that the customer gave, what were those feedbacks majorly? Were they price related? Were they style related? Were they feel related? What was it?
So in the initial day, the first thing is, why would I buy OCEEDEE?
Okay.
I have an option of like comparison to Charles and Keith, Aldo. So why OCEEDEE? Because yes, we had shoes which were selling for 6,000, 4,500, etc. But being in front of customer, we were able to communicate that, right? And that was the first learning of being a digital first brand. Like, it became very important that you need to have an offline conversation, whether it can be your store, it could be your pop-up experiences, or you're just taking a product and showing to people and getting feedback. I think that is something which is very critical for any entrepreneur, to be face to face with your customer. So our first thing was to kind of burst that bubble. Yes, of course, when we were there, we used to show them, there's design innovation. These are leather shoes, whereas like Charles and Keith, it's, non-leather. Of course, beautiful design. I like always look out for Charles and Keith and what they're doing, personal fan of it. But this is your Indian answer. Then as we started observing, how people are interacting with product, the fit came into the picture. The style started coming into the picture. As I said, the first collection was 3 inches, 4 inches, all above, all strappy sandals. We went back to drawing board and started realizing that when we are designing a collection, 80% needs to be in the commercial. And when I'm saying commercial, not from a price point perspective, but something which will easily fit into a women's closet. So we used to have a lot of 2.5 inches heels, easy slip-ons, sliders, conducive to the Indian environment, roads, lifestyle, weather, everything. Then we started designing. So the whole beauty of us having our own manufacturing is based that we have the proprietary lasts. So a lot of R&D goes into, getting each last, the fit, the length, the arc perfect. So we own that. It is not something which is just some export house we have taken and then we have replicated.
You're not
that.
trading, you're building
We are
actually.
building, yes.
You're actually getting them manufactured.
Right. So then the fit evolved, and then now, of course, because 10 years is a long journey, the customer is, and the reason I said customer or competition, because she is the one who is going to shape our journey as we grow forward, right? And a lot of times you need to keep your eyes on the competition, but at the end of the day, she has an option to shop from you versus competition. So what's the value addition that you can cater to? How easily and quickly you are listening to her is what's going to differentiate from the product. Otherwise, yes, product is a very, like, design is a very subjective things. I might like something, you might like something, it may be the same product, but how it fits into your life would be different. So I feel, from a design, from a fit point of view, and now the price is something which, post COVID, people have gone a bit sensitive on a lot of things. Economic conditions, politics, the environment we are living in today, people are in general very sensitive about aspirations of life. So you have to keep attuned to what the customer is asking for and then kind of design for it. Otherwise, if you're in a bubble otherwise.
So Neha, pricing is a very critical element whenever you are into the
Yes.
product industry.
Yeah.
And price points and pricing are very complicated subjects.
Right.
So when did you realize the price point based market audience, and how did you do corrections in this journey of 11 years?
Right.
Because there is no right price or wrong price.
Right.
Your revenues will show you where you're going right or where you're going wrong.
Right.
What is that learning experience on how to rightly price a product? That's one. Secondly, how to make products with the right price.
Right.
So how did you map that journey?
So, initially we went with a very luxury aspiration, right? Our positioning was very luxury, hence our designs, our price points. But then we adapted to the pre-COVID India that we saw. We thought, what? In the market, leather products are selling anything above 15,000. Our answer can be, best design, best comfort leather shoes at a, say, average price point of 4,000. We were doing really well. But when Meta comes into the picture, the CACs get shaken up, and then while you're making very high realizations, your ROAS doesn't justify it. So then, last one.
ROAS is return on ad spend.
Which every D2C brand has to pray and live by.
Absolutely. And there are absolute multiples that you need to swear by. Otherwise, you'll be losing money. You'll lose your money, your pants, and your house. So you really need to have that right number in place. ROAS, yes. Return on ad spend.
Yes.
Okay.
And you have to keep monitoring it. But last 1.5 years journey, we tried the offline, online, both. And to survive on D2C, we realized that while the market shift is happening, a certain level of price sensitivity is coming. So, you can't, while you're selling at a 4,000 price point, there's a huge market opportunity on the other side of spectrum. Now, how low that can be is something where we had to really sit between the sales team and the brand team to come to a point that, 1,500 is not something that we're going to cross. Eventually, now, of course, there's a level where it becomes a good introduction for a customer, right? You can get a lot more people exposed to OCEEDee. We are seeing our repeats have been very strong from before as well. But now it allows them to get an experience of growing into the brand ladder. So somebody may try a 1,500 shoe, but eventually an occasion comes, she might easily, have an option to buy like a 7,000 pair, which is very exclusive, could be leather as well. So yeah, there's a long journey of it. And I feel that price is something where how you add a value and the design both matters. And what you're, like, as you previously mentioned, that you're creating a value for your customer, that still remains the truth, because it's a very subjective.
So the way you add value to your customer is there is profit in buying and there is very less profit in selling. So if your efficiency is not right, so today profits is in the efficiency. If your backend is not right, where you're purchasing of raw material, making your team as productive as possible, utilizing minimalistic possible resources, so that you can crunch your production numbers, so that you can offer a better price point to your customer and consumer. Profitability becomes difficult if you don't do this exercise. So I'm sure price point is a very scientific term for any entrepreneur who's in the product business, and it's a very logical process which really needs to be mastered. So a lot of brands try to define their audience, Neha. The best brands understand them. Rather than defining them, they understand them. Now, OCD feels like a company or a product company which is built for a very specific woman. Okay, that's what I have realized from this conversation. So, who's this OCD lady? Who's this OCD girl?
So she's your modern Indian woman. The way we sketch her is that she's somebody who is very comfortable in her own skin. She's not somebody who would go around chasing trends, but somebody who would set them apart. Very much like an anti-fashionista. But I think the most important thing, the way I have seen or I describe her, is that she's somebody who wants to make a statement effortlessly and unapologetically. And I think, again, that goes back to our conversation of how our shoes or the way we design our shoes is with the ease of that product being translating into your life. Because
so, is she someone that you have designed for, or is she someone who has grown into your brand? She gravitated towards your brand. What happened?
revealed herself over time.
She revealed herself over time. Oh, excellent. So, what insecurity or gap does your product quietly solve, even if you don't say it out loud?
I want to answer this a little differently. Go a little behind the scenes than just what you see on surface as a product. I personally feel the amount of hours that it takes, the process of getting one design up right on the shelf. There's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of hours of our artisans, right? The craftsmanship process is something that, yes, we are very vocal about it, but a lot of times, whether it is a 10,000 rupee product or a 2,000 rupee product, people need to be mindful that there are hours of some manual labor that's going into it. Our team also, right from concept, like, we do not just throw in a product that acha ye today this is what we're going to launch. There's a story behind every product. We take inspiration from, just for conversation's sake, one of our collection was inspired by the Louvre in Paris. Now the major motif is the pyramid. So all the shoes in that collection had an element of a triangle or a pyramid, sort of a 3D effect that went into it, that binded it all together. The color palette was inspired by, summer in Paris. So that was the palette. And that communication flows in the editorial shoot, the way we communicate, how the ads are built, how the content is built, how even the packaging of that goes to the customer. So a lot of this is something which, as a brand, you have to be vocal about. But oftentimes, when it is just about your e-commerce platform, people tend to miss. And I feel it is something that deserves a lot more credit than what people give.
Excellent. So that is the purse which carries the cash and the credit card by which they buy your shoes?
And a lot more.
So that purse is also, that bag is also made by OCD.
Yes, that was.
So how many SKUs does your company have?
So today we have about 120, which is purely in the shoes as a category. Bags is something that we are stepping or venturing into.
Okay. So how many SKUs in the bags category?
Right now we only have 12.
Okay.
So we had like 6 designs and into 2. But this was a limited edition collection. Last year we turned 10. That's where we launched our monogram and tried to venture into this. Definitely great response. And now we are, of course, with the product, you also need to learn a lot of things. We are very thorough with shoes. We know exactly what people want. With bags, we had our own learning. And for me also, right, as an entrepreneur, I was in the US when this collection came out. This Feb, when I came back, was the first time I was actually physically, seeing the product. Now I know, oh, this worked beautifully. This is where we need to innovate more, bring more functionality, right? Because at OCD, while design, like form is good, functionality, if it's not there, then we're not going to make the product live. And I think that's a combination that always decides whether a piece will come into the collection or not. And I think the same remains for bags as well.
Excellent. So every entrepreneur that I have come across in the product category, they use a lot of reasons or they use a lot of seasons to create collections. So what is your next reason or the next season to create a new collection? What's in the coming?
So we are focusing a lot more on workwear now. I think that is one space where design, comfort, all and everyday ease, right, needs to beautifully fit in. So our next collection, both from in terms of bags, and that's when we will be launching bags as well. A lot of beautiful totes, cross bodies, and some interesting things I'll reveal soon. So you guys need to stay tuned.
So is that a reason or is that a season?
That's a reason. That's a
Okay.
reason of evolution. And I think the way we have kind of built OCD in the past has been seasonalities. We used to do spring summer collection, fall, festive, you can't do away. But I feel with today's time, you need to be more communication driven. So I think the drop culture is the new normal, as we can say. And I feel the adaptability, because even our data is showing that after 3 months, there is a fatigue that people experience. And how do you keep refreshing, how do you keep freshness is something which people love. So we are shifting our mind space from a design point of view in that limited edits, but let's make it more impactful to what they need, right, rather than saying spring summer season hai, so let's launch this. So that's a little new thought process we are working towards.
So do you think today's consumer is harder to impress or easier to understand?
Harder to impress, for sure.
Harder to impress.
Yeah. Definitely, it's become, yes, I think both. Easy to understand because there's so much data, access to data. You can know her from social media. You can easily get Google, analytics, know her. We do a lot of calling to our customers for, before sending the shoe. After an order comes, we call and ask them what size do they usually wear. Helps us to minimize return.
How do you solve the sizing puzzle? Because lots of times sizes go wrong.
Yes.
And that generates a lot of returns and exchanges. And that's a very cumbersome activity in the D2C space, especially on e-commerce related activities or businesses.
Right.
How do you solve that size challenge? US 9 is different from the UK 9 and 42 is different from 43 in some brands and 43 is different from some other brands. How do you solve that challenge? 42, 43 cannot be women's sizes. I'm talking about men's sizes.
No, it is. It is 40. We do everything from 34 to 43.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
we've also done a 44.
I thought only men have got big size feet. So is it the same 42, 43
no,
for
no,
men, women?
No, the
women 42, 43 will be different, right?
Okay. Yeah. Like how a small shirt size would be different for a, because the architecture
the structure
of
is
it's
different.
Right?
Yes, yes. So how do you solve the size puzzle? It's a very complicated puzzle.
Yeah. So I think, again, it's an evolution. We got a lot of data by physically being at these exhibitions, seeing what's the architecture of foot. We also, initial days and even today, we call our customers when an order comes, ask them what brands do they wear, what typical sizes, standard sizes do they wear. And now we have a good understanding because we have built our shoe lasts according to all of this data, where there is enough ball girth that gives a comfort in certain styles. The arc rests really well. The length is also of a certain parameters. Of course, now we have tried to build something for the Indian size set. There was some conversation of Bharat scale that was going to come for the Indian women's sizes and men's sizes. I think it's still in discussion, but that would be fabulous because it's missing and we are still working on the European and Asian sizes. And again, that's a differentiation that comes. But because of that evolution, we have been able to kind of counter this. And then some of the CRM processes that come through, where if sometimes customers, don't just tell us, they send us a picture, then automatically, while it may be counterintuitive from a sales point of view, if it is quite broad as a foot, we would deter them from getting a closed toe, but rather steer them to say a peep toe or a more comfort, like a mule, which would be more comfortable. And customers appreciate that. Nobody wants a hassle of
Is this tech driven or is it people driven? this kind of explanation and
Right now it's all people driven because again,
so somebody from your team gets on the call.
yes, I have one dedicated person who does these calls every day as soon as the
Are there timings?
It's divided. We park morning hours and then evening hours just because people get free from it.
Is it 14 hours covered or 8 hours covered? 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the evening?
No, so our team shift is like 8 hours. So
Uh-huh.
we start at 10 and
Service to the clients. Is it open for 14 hours a day, 12 hours a day, or 8 hours a day?
12 hours a day.
12 hours
Yeah.
a day.
And then we have a WhatsApp channel which is continuously open. Our team also works on weekends, so it is there. We are, of course, with the age of AI, trying to incorporate a lot more of that technology because at the end of the day, you need to make your operations also seamless. But again, it is keeping a balance of not losing that personalization of the experience.
So, what is that one shift that you have noticed in how women approach to style these days? What is that one shift that you have noticed?
I honestly feel initially it was very much about occasion driven or thinking first head to toe. I don't think still it has turned like toe to head, but I feel that women are looking more for a day dressing, right? So, you know what, I'm going for a meeting, then I have to catch for a coffee with a friend, and then I have this dinner that I need to attend. So they want pieces that are so versatile that, you know, they don't have to carry multiple bags with them. So I feel that shift has gone where, you know, elevated basics are something which are becoming a part of your closet rather than saying, you know, I have 10 different pairs for each occasion, like coffee run ke liye ek hai, party ke liye ek hai. And I think again that's where OCD works because our shoes are pretty versatile.
So there was a time when people used to ask about longevity and durability of a product. Today, fashion and style is so rampant and so rapid and so fast that people are not, they don't care about the longevity of the product because they keep buying new styles. Right. They run out of their patience for the style that they have used for a couple of times. Of course, that is a very beneficial attitude to brand owners like OCD. But is that the trend today? They want more. Nobody is really bothered about how long will this shoe last. More than how good this looks today and what are the new models coming up in the next few days. Are those kind of queries that hit your customer care number?
It's a mix of both, to be very honest, and honestly it is a little generationally dependent as well. While, you know, but I have to counter that in terms of there is still a mass that is believing in a very value driven kind of product buying, right? They have parked certain brands for, you know, I wear it for a few hours and then I'm okay. Nahi chala to nahi chala. But, and especially when they look at an Indian brand, their expectations are a lot higher. And that's why, as I mentioned, that we have to really set a par for ourselves to be differentiated. But yes, people do want certain value, the longevity to be there. And all our products, the reason we do wear trials is that to test the same, that, you know, would the 10 seconds define our product, or is it going to be the 10th wear that is going to define our product? And we have stood the time, and I would tend to believe that we are somebody that people look for both freshness and they want to add some pair that lasts them for a longer period of time.
Excellent. So from the outside, Neha, brands like yours seems like seamless, clean design, consistent identity. Very strong recall because you have repeat customers that you claim. So there is a very strong recall. But I'm guessing there is a lot of chaos behind the operations, behind running this particular business. So what's something about building a brand that looks effortless, but actually it is extremely difficult? Like it's like the duck swimming in the water. On the top of it, it looks so calm, quiet, serene, comfortable. But below the water, what's not visible to the eye, it is very aggressively, you know, kicking
swimming,
in the water and swimming or whatever you call it. So, what is it?
I personally feel maintaining the positioning of the brand is very tough because, and especially when the growth sets in, to keep the numbers flowing in while maintaining the positioning. And especially in digital age, right? It's very easy to get swayed by trends. Are ye koi kar raha hai reel mein, let's do it. how you adapt it to your brand is where your creative challenge comes through. And same way with design, right? Like with this price shift also, the sales teams that told us that, you need to do some of these things. Now, it was a very hard pill for me and Anshul to swallow, but then the creative challenge came upon us that
Who takes the design call amongst you?
I'm the brand police. But again, right, like I cannot just think of one side of it. At the end of the day, it needs to there's no brand if there's no business, or vice versa. So I feel the brand current is very tough, and we have built OCD very organically. We haven't really spent a lot of money in like organic building. So it is all the kind of content we create, the collaborations we do. We work with a lot of celebrities, but it's all been like a very personal relationships that me and my team have built over time. Some of the celebrities, they own OCD as part of their closet as well, and it's something that we have had a continued journey on. And again, it's about that innovation in product, the freshness and the experience also that you offer there. It's not just customers, it's a whole ecosystem that you need to live with. And I feel balancing all of this is like balancing the tray of glassware, right, where everything needs to like can't shatter any moment. And I think till you do not maintain that consistently, then people are like gonna just forget, like it's just doom scrolling.
So you are a collaborative mindset person.
Yes.
Excellent. So with our board active gym wear and leisure wear, you should design some sports shoes so that we can make it a joint branding and joint effort to sell it.
Definitely.
So
There's so much, as I said, we have touched only a tip of the iceberg when it comes to it.
So business today is all about building an ecosystem,
right,
on how you can leverage other people's resources and strengths and add yours, and create new traction for the business that you do. That's what is happening today. All the great big brands are absolutely doing that and making their base and their foundation stronger than before.
Right.
Excellent, excellent. So how much of your time goes into things that people never even notice, but you have really invested a lot of time in that? So what are those operational activities that consumes majority of your time and efforts?
Pretty much my whole day. And as I said, right, what goes behind the scene, what goes into getting a product up on the shelf, right from the first thought of what are the trends in the market, how do they match with our data analysis, what products we need to double down. So just to give you an example, our peep toes are something as a silhouette that do beautiful, like that's a winning category. And when we did a little market research, we realized that there are quite a lot of brands. I mean, there's there's definitely a deficiency out there in the market, and maybe that's what people are coming back for at OCD. So now we need to kind of double down on that. Now, how do you keep innovating in designs? Like, one thing is good to know that take that one winning formula and run with it. But after a point, there's going to be a fatigue that sets in. But the challenge comes, how do you keep innovating and keep your customer excited, is where a lot of our mind space goes. Then it needs to be balanced with operational cost needs to be figured out. We can create sculptures, but if it doesn't work from a customer or making point of view, so many of my designs have been killed ki ye to ban hi nahi sakta, and then I have to keep challenging. theek hai, bana ke to dikhao, then we'll figure out, right? Some have seen the light of the day, some have not, and I have come to terms with it. But it is a lot of thinking, not just from me or Anshul as entrepreneurs, but by the whole team to really, even like our CRM team keeps pushing me back that no, you need to add a elastic over here, because we have a lot of fitting issues that can come from it. So when you're designing a product, it's not just the design team. It's a very utopian world to say that I'm a designer and this is what the product is. You need to take an account of what the customer wants, what your sales team is requiring of you, what the production team needs are going to be. And tomorrow, if this becomes your bestseller and goes into that volume zone, are you going to have the affordability from a COGS point of view to make it at that volume? So none of this really goes in front. And I think at the end of the day, it comes down only at an entrepreneur level, because you are the one seeing the blueprint 24/7.
Absolutely. So, Neha, we operate restaurants also. It's called Sante Spa Cuisine. It's vegetarian and vegan food options.
Oh, nice.
Multiple cities of the country. we have lot of menus that keep coming new because you have to keep your customer excited. So we have got the summer menu, we have got the mango menu, we have got the winter menu, we have got the rainy season menu. Similarly, what is the pattern that a shoe company would follow in terms of making sure that you come up with new designs? Like for example, Apple. Just take an example of Apple. They have now trained and cultured the whole world that please keep earning for the 11 months, because in the 12th month, that is September, we are going to take away all the money that you have earned by making you buy a phone which is today equivalent to the value of a car. And there is a new design, there is a new software, and you please buy us. That way, they have actually tuned. Now, I in my mind know that September is around the corner and I have to buy a new iPhone. So have you cultured your customers that this month, on this date, at this time, a new design is going to be launched, so that there is a positive traction and it gets sold well? So do you do something on those lines?
We haven't so far, because, we sort of believe in more like a stronger communication and narrative, rather like, so whenever we are launching a collection, right, it becomes a whole aura that you create around it. It's not just like one product and that's going, like, yes, we are moving to that journey where some of our styles have started becoming a signature. Like you asked in our initial chat, right, like, if you don't have a logo on this, would you people, and people have started recognizing that. So we are working towards building that, you have that product. Oh, today we launched a baby blue in this. I want that in my closet because I have, 10 colors, and people are shopping that way for me. So one is where we are building our iconics, and that is something where that excitement gets driven. We have our moments like our anniversary where we do limited edition drops. And I think that uh, drop culture that I was talking about, where we have made a shift from seasonality to a reason why somebody should shop, is particularly why we want to create that buzz where, people say, okay, stay tuned for this. OCD is coming with something new and exciting. You need
So
to
like
jump
the
on it.
like the movie industry, you do a teaser, then you do a trailer, then you do a launch.
Then you do part 1, then you do part 2, and then stay tuned for Avengers is a piece, or Durandar.
So do you keep doing the Durandar with your products as well?
Sometimes.
Is that the journey that you do with all the designs that get launched? But isn't this a brilliant idea that people know that now in the month of April, you are going to come up with a new design. Now in the month of June, for the rainy season, you are going to have a particular design, like how Apple does once in a year. Why will it not be a great idea to have people fixated that ye din pe, ye time pe, ye hoga?
So we did that before, right? We did seasonal collections, but at that point of time, everybody is doing their seasonal collection, right? The whole idea is where you capture the mind space, especially in
You can create different milestones.
Yeah, so that's why, like, anniversary, Women's Day is a very big moment for us,
But
right?
that the whole world announces. It's
But
too
how,
noisy.
no, so how you do it, right, makes a lot of difference. Now,
But that's how everybody also thinks.
so you have to break the clutter with the content you create. That's what I'm saying, right? Like the narrative that you own goes far more in today's day and age than the product, because at the end of the day, Instagram is my discovery platform. I mean, yes, while we get great organic traction searching for OCEEDEE.com and then coming to our website, but Instagram is where the story, like, even if you're, our performance marketing team is fabulous. Once you click on something, it will like keep following you everywhere.
Digital stalking.
Trust me. Sometimes I'm pretty scared of it myself, but that's my bread and butter. But again, right, like right from selling the product to that narrative of how it is going to come into your life is where the difference happens. And that's where I keep fixated on the narrative that you position, even if it's a seasonal thing, if it is a day thing. Anniversary is something that definitely only we will own at some point of time, but you got to break the clutter. And in the past also, one example that I had is we used to do a lot of runway collaborations. So we have done almost 7 seasons of Paris Fashion Week with Rahul Mishra. We used to do a lot of Lakme. But then we realized that in that moment you can create certain PR, but when you launch an exclusive collaborative collection which is not seasonal or anything, that builds a lot of traction for you, because people have only that mindset. They're not going to go with the buzz of Lakme. So you need to identify some of those moments, and your editorial calendar will be a mix of both. Some, of course, you have to run with the bandwagon because everybody is looking and you need to be part of that noise. I won't deny it, but some you have to kind of set your own rules for.
Oh, excellent. So, was there a moment where something went wrong? A launch, a collection, a decision, something that at the end of the day really shook your confidence? Because nothing is picture perfect, right?
Yeah, I think
Anything that you can recollect?
for an entrepreneur, multiple, that's a part of your bungee jump. I think the first one I again would go back to. So when we launched OCD, we launched as a 3D like customization brand, and we both strongly believe that this is it. Digitization was setting in India. People would love that Nike ID concept. Women are anyway not getting the kind of shoes that they desire. So why not sit in the comfort of the home on an iPad and design that shoe? But eventually we realized that that was far from the reality. To scale a business, it was good from a gamification point of view. And as a young, at 24 years age, not in coming from that industry, that definitely was that moment of second guessing. Then came our first collection, which was very European and very like highly priced luxury. But I personally am a believer, and this may sound very cliched, is how you kind of absorb that experience, tweak it to your own way forward, and move on with it without overthinking. I think one of the biggest things that I would recommend any entrepreneur to do is do not chase overthinking. Perfection is something that will, in today's day and age, if you do not capitalize on the moment, everything's about moment marketing, everything's about that defining moment. If you lose that time period, it's something that you cannot get back. And the brand, the business, everything, it's not just your marketing, everything relies on this. And tomorrow when you're sitting in front of investors, they are also going to question you on the journey in the same manner. So please do not overthink. Build your business with the conviction, but make sure that you're going with the time that you have, and go with your gut feeling. Sometimes I feel that, again, that instinct and taste that comes through, it will fit in together, but at times, your gut feeling can be much stronger.
Fantastic. So, Neha, in categories like footwear, product alone isn't enough. Perception plays a very huge role, and we have seen this time and again in multiple
Right.
businesses. So, do you think people fall in love with the brand first or the product? Whom do they fall in love with?
So I think your defining moment is the experience that brings it both together. Of course, brand is, as we discussed, is a discovery platform. They first associate that, like, why iPhone, right? You associate a lifestyle for yourself. There's a status quo to it, right? So then people come to the product, and it is not, it's a phone at the end of the day. Today, all Android phones, everything has the same thing. There's no honestly differentiation. But it is the brand that you're saying. Why somebody wants a Starbucks? Okay, same thing. So similarly, I think brand is where that discovery happens. Product reinforces it, but experience is something that brings it all together. So for me, again, right, at the end of the day, I can create the best of the best product, but if the experience of the customer is not good, I'm not going to sustain in the market very long.
So, love the product first, and then the love for the brand follows.
Yeah.
Is that the philosophy of OCD? Almost.
Almost, yeah.
So, how do you ensure OCD doesn't become just another good looking brand?
Staying true to what we believe in, keep consistency in our design language, and again, most importantly, listening to our customers and evolving with it. If we stick to our guns and saying nahi bas aise hi karenge, then again you hit a ceiling there. You need to take customer feedback also with a pinch of salt, in terms of where your design philosophy doesn't get diluted, and always keep at the core of why you are doing this, right? Because as entrepreneurs, oftentimes you get shaken up by positive news as well as negative news, and the clarity of thought needs to remain. So for me, it is again, a merging of both these things together.
And is there a risk of over designing when you deeply care about aesthetics?
Always.
All the time.
All the
How do
time.
you regulate that and how do you manage that?
That's where my sales teams comes into the picture, right? Or where the production team. So on the sketches, so typically we design, like if a 10 is going to be the number for the range plan, we design 20 shoes, then iterations happen. Some go to the sampling where a lot of challenges come through, that this is too complicated, there's a lot of wastage coming through, it is not going to be comfortable. That evaluation process starts happening. And again, constantly, I have to keep asking the question that, is this defining OCD, right? Is this my brand language? Is this minimal enough? Is this elevated enough? Does this fit easily? Is it too complicated? Cross off immediately, right? Because that's not what my customer is looking for. So again, multiple tiers that keep a check on this over designing process, but you need to do that to kind of also, you need to start here, so that you start filtration process comes through, because otherwise you'll hit a stagnation when it comes to innovation. And I have a team of designers, so at the end of the day I also need to balance their what inspires them, rather than saying this is the brief, now you design, because I know that's not going to work.
So if I show you a product without your logo, will people still recognize it as OCD?
Yeah, because every design comes with a motive. There's a strong communication language, as I was sharing the example of Louvre before. It's a very signature motive that comes through a lot of our styles. Like there's this mule that we launched called named Julie. We launched in 2017. It's still celebrity favorite, it's our customers favorite. A lot of people, if it is shown in any other context than OCD, our customers have flagged that off. So we are working towards it, definitely, and I think that's where the monogram really comes into the picture. And if you see, I always believe that that monogram also will go with the design aesthetics. So the round is the design element that is flowing in my entire product upper. So again, right, the distinctive design language is where OCD really stands apart. And without any logo or being loud about it, that we have the power to create minimalism with our designs.
So you'll also go ahead and match your bags with the shoes as well, because
Yeah.
that is another category where you make your buyer buy more than what he needs.
So
First he was buying only shoes, she was buying only shoes, and now she is also buying a bag along with those shoes.
Yeah, we actually, the reason we are going into bags is that our customers started coming that, hey, this is my outfit, I have the shoes only if I had a matching bag with this, right? And we were like, this is a big opportunity we are missing on. And it's again something that seems very seamless in the journey of the brand. Anshul and I have both always visualized OCD to be a lifestyle brand rather than, footwear will always be at the core and a heart and soul of OCD. But how do you evolve around it with form and function together will be something that defines our journey.
Oh, excellent. So you will ensure that you're not only adding new customers,
Yeah.
but you're adding more products to your existing customers.
Right.
So that's again your average order value is improving, because now
Bundle
she has the options of buying a matching bag
Yeah.
to suit the shoes that she's like. Good, brilliant idea. And do you think brands today focus too much on looking good and not enough on feeling right?
Yeah, I think that's again where we
And how do you stay away from that?
So our philosophy has always been to offer fashion without compromise, and it simply translates to what you said, that it's not about just designing shoes that look good, but also that feel comfortable, that marry well with your life. Uh, you just step in and are ready to go is what we define OCD as, and a lot of times there is a lot more focus in, as I mentioned before, the first 10 seconds of seeing an impulsive buy. At OCD, I care more about the 10th wear than the 10 seconds that somebody would be making a decision, because that's what is going to bring that customer back to me. So a lot of thoughtful designing is what really differentiates us in today's market. And it's something that always we keep an eye out for, not discounting what others are doing for sure. And again, how do we bring that design led thinking while not letting go of the other two, makes it all of that.
Excellent. So Neha, as a founder, you're constantly balancing your instinct with numbers. right? That's what you're doing every day in, day out. So, have there been moments where your instinct went against what the data was saying?
Yeah, a lot of times, especially from a design point of view,
How do
right?
you react to that?
Initially very emotionally. I am somebody who will impulsively, start fighting with the sales team. But it's a healthy debate. Data is also good, but you also need to learn what to pick from the data, right? So I think like where I come into the picture is that okay, I hear you, but from a brand point of view, I need XYZ things to happen, and I think how do we balance that is something which again has been a learning curve. Now, for example, right, like we know that there is a big market for peep toes, loafers. So immediately the business instinct says that we need to capitalize and create be the category leader in those particular silhouettes. And same way, right, from a design point of view also, some of our winning shoes are those best sellers. So we try to balance those things out, but again I have to keep putting that hat on of where innovation doesn't get lost in this data driven process. And I think now we've all come to terms, and I think Anshul and I fit in very well together as a team before the rest of the team also gets involved in it, but it's a healthy debate to have.
So, gut feeling is a very common word or a very common statement that we keep making all the time in our life,
Right.
that this is my gut feeling. So, how do you decide to trust your gut feel?
Hmm, I think it's now being balanced with experience, what I have seen on the ground. I am myself a consumer of it, so of course the boys don't have much say. But to be very honest, again, like it's a mix of data and experience, because again, it has to be balanced. You have to listen to your customers. You also have to keep a very distinct design language. And for me, that's my evolution from gut feeling to having a taste or point of view where that journey has gone now.
So, what's more dangerous, overthinking decisions or moving too fast creatively?
Overthinking. Anytime. You lose on the moment that you need to capitalize. Perfection is something which, you know, uh, can come. Moving fast definitely has its own risks, but at the most, what you'll fall, you learn from it, you move on, right? But if you lose that particular time and opportunity, it's point of no return. So for me, anytime it will be overthinking.
Have there been situations where you have designed something that you really loved, but that failed commercially, it didn't sell? Have you been through those situations?
Our first collection.
What happened then?
Again, the designing was very avant-garde, very strappy, beautiful designs.
But it didn't work commercially.
No, because they were all 4 inches. We had priced it at 15,000 starting point. That time, nobody knew there's a brand called OCEEDEE also, right? So, in the journey of it, you need to play all of these elements very well. And again, the price positioning and your product are no jokes of marketing. You have to follow it. Otherwise, one of the other thing will haunt you in the future.
And that momentary failure, what did it teach you?
You have to go on ground, really keep constantly checking on the market and keep building accordingly.
Excellent. And what's harder, creating something new or saying no to something that's already good enough?
Um, I would say saying no to what already is good enough, because you go in that comfort zone that, oh, this is working for us, or this is something that is. I think the challenge comes of how you take it to the next level. Building something new also comes with its own creative thinking, but it kind of pushes you to go beyond those boundaries that you set for yourself. And it also allows you to test something new, right? Because till you do not like how you learn, like you have to, till you don't throw yourself in the water, you don't learn to swim. That natural instinct kicks out, and somewhere you have to trust that no matter what. Yes, at the same time you need to have the courage to absorb if it doesn't work. You have to take responsibility for it. But I think the way now we have is 80% of the business is getting driven by what is good and working for us, and how do we take it to next level to create that brand synergies where someone sees and they know this is OCEEDEE. and 20% is where you keep evolving a brand ladder for your customer to have them keep coming back to you.
So Neha, for me, zero to infinite is about the transition from figuring things out to building something that feels absolutely inevitable. And that's how I feel about zero to infinite as a podcast series. So what I would like to ask you is, was there a moment where OCD stopped feeling like a risk and started feeling like something real?
So I had.
I also want you to describe that feeling.
Oh, okay. So it was, first instinct was a bit of like shock, and I'll explain how it was. It's always about when you're especially a digital first brand, everything's on a screen, right? You often forget how it is actually being played into the real life of women, or just like even social media. You're just doing it, but actually people know or not. So I had two instances like this. So first one was the first time when I saw somebody at the airport wear OCD. And initially, like I had to like legit do that, Ekta Kapoor series thing where I had to like, look thrice to make sure that it is our shoe. And that's where I first felt that, okay, yes, we have made it. Okay. And this was like, I think just 3 years or so into the journey. And yes, like after 10 years, of course, there's learned, but the 3 years was still a very, because we had like our initial phase from customization to this brand move. So definitely that was one. And second one was, like just I was having a conversation with somebody and I was like, yeah, I'm co-founder of OCD. Oh my god, like I love your brand, my sister-in-law just bought 3 pairs from you. And at that moment you're caught off guard, that, and again, you're very young in the journey as an entrepreneur, and then seeing that validation that yes, this is real. People, it's not just a digital or not just an Excel sheet, it's turned into a reality where people know about the brand. I've had moments in the US now where I'm just having a conversation and, okay, what do you do? Oh yes, I get so many ads of the brand. So all these moments take you from that digital screen, that yes, your brand is real, it has its own personality. Lot of people are shopping, and suddenly in some friends post I'll see them wearing also like kharida kab yaar tune. And it's become a part of your ecosystem. And honestly, when your friends and family don't tell you and they are wearing OCD, that's beautiful, right? Because they know that, okay, it's naturally become a part of their shopping pattern.
So with every such occasion, at the end of the day, you must be feeling so satisfied when you lay back on bed for sleep.
That's like, that actually encourages you. Or kya kar sakte? Like what's next for the brand? How should I get it to the level? There's also peace in it that yes, it's something, it's working. It becomes a validation on the negative days. Of course, as an entrepreneur, you have those. Why am I doing? What am I doing with life? And these are the moments that stick around to give you that answer.
So Neha, do you think clarity comes before growth or after you have achieved that growth? When do you think
It's a part
clarity
of
comes?
again the journey. If you do not have clarity, then you will be all over the place even before you start. You would not know where to start from. So a little bit of clarity is required to take that first leap. But it becomes stronger. Again, it is the kind of uh, experience that you grow with, the exposure that you get, the falls that you have, that makes it much more stronger. You have a certain perspective that you build. What kind of entrepreneur are you? What kind of brand you want to build? And I think that clarity needs to come with the flexibility to evolve. If that is not there, then you are stuck in your own wheels.
And how do you validate your clarity?
uh, Keep questioning myself, and I have that's the beauty of having a co-founder. You have somebody to fall back upon, to debate it out. You're not always the only one in that journey. There are times when I have been, my judgments are cloud. Anshul is always standing by with me to be that bouncing board. It's vice versa for us. So I would always recommend that, while it has its pros and cons, it's beautiful to have a co-founder, because the journey of entrepreneurship can get very lonely in the long run, and if you have somebody who is living that day in every second with you, it makes a whole lot of difference.
So many a times what I've noticed among co-founders or partners is that one side does not respect the opinion of the other side, and that's where things go wrong. Now, for that not to happen, what are the measures that co-founders should take, and what is it that you two guys have done to keep sanity in this partnership?
I think very open communication. Before we both decided to join hands for OCD, we laid out what we both are good at, right? And I think if we both were trying to do the same thing, it would become very chaotic and we would not grow. We both own a certain, like, as our team says, I'm the face of the brand, Anshu's the backbone of the brand, right? And we're both very comfortable in owning that. Having said that, it's not that we do not question each other, and that is where our evolution happens. I start thinking from a business point of view. He also knows, where the sales and the brand needs to, come together very well. So one is laying that expectations out up front. What do you both also want as you grow along with this journey? Being absolutely candid in the communication, because we started the brand when we were 24. Now life has taken, we are both married. Anshul has a baby boy now, so he has his own journey of fatherhood that's now kicking in. And the business, though it is your baby together at that point in time, it evolves beautifully, and you need to start balancing this together. And I think that's where the partnership plays a big role of how you're able to support each other. And that will not come through if you do not, if you're not having that comfort to communicate even the smallest thing, that what, hey, I did not like it, ठीक है, रात गई बात गई, we'll debate it out, yet after that we are okay to go grab a beer together and just be okay with things.
Excellent, excellent. So, if you had to start again, the whole re-journey, start again today, taste in what would you do differently from what was happening then if you re-begin the business again?
I would stop the second guessing that actually came in the initial part. And yes, kudos to all that on ground gadha mazuri that we did. But I feel that, probably getting more early exposure to someone experienced coming on board. At times, you feel that you need to figure out everything. But as entrepreneurs, you need to learn with them and be absolutely comfortable to say, what, hey, you know what, you have more experience than me. I want you to run this for me. And then your ownership is my responsibility. So I think for me, it would come down to how best I can people manage. And I think that's something which I don't want to boast, but I'm very naturally good at it from my psychology background. But I feel that, that nature of second guessing that led to overthinking and constantly trying to be perfect is not something that I would redo. I would take more trust in and ownership in the team that I would be getting and going with it. Sometimes, again, I feel that you have to fall a lot of times, but learn from them and grow. And if you are, I think we were very cautious in some of our steps, due to which things took a little bit more time than it should. But yeah.
So, what's the next plan? What is the short term and long term goal for OCD?
Definitely on the way to make it India's best and first lifestyle brand with the right combination of design, comfort, price for the Indian women. Shoes are our nature. We are looking at developing a lot more categories in it, creating certain depths, evolving with the new generation that keeps coming. And then expanding next is handbags, of course. But the joke between me and Anshul is the day we have launched a perfume, we have made it.
So, perfume is also in the works?
It's the far-sighted, like not in works, but like how, for example, David Kuloff, right? Like it started with a very different proposition, but today it's known for this. And it just, I think the ownership is, again, the ethos of OCD remains that we bring the best of the best product, which very seamlessly becomes a part of, a woman's journey, you're right. So whatever products that, that evolution bags, because that's where naturally the customers are asking us. And as I said, she revealed herself to us eventually, and she's, changing constantly these days. So we need to keep listening to her. Tomorrow she may say that, I want an outfit for pickleball. Who knows, right? We need to constantly evaluate on this. Bags was definitely a path. And I feel that women as a category is very tough to own. It is something that has a lot of options, that needs a lot of innovations. And I feel with the capabilities that we have, we can do a lot more. So definitely, as of now, make footwear the crow and grow it to the next volumes and introduce bags naturally. But let's see how things go in the journey.
So Neha, the man that you admire in your life is your dad, Kunal Kamtekar. Yeah. Coincidentally, I happen to know him. I have met him a couple of times many years back. The man you again admire is your co-founder, that's Anshul. Yeah. Somebody that you got married to, yes, is a man again. On this podcast, again, I'm a man who's taken your interview on this podcast. And in your whole scheme of plans of the past, in the present, and of the future, the man doesn't figure out for the product that you make. And why is that so? Because that is another great category. Even men today love to have many pairs of shoes. So why is it not in your scheme of things for creating something for the men?
Because women are too complicated and we need to figure that equation out.
So you have mastered how to manage complex situations. Men are so easy. We have got such less choices. We are very easy customers.
You do not. But at the end of the day, first we need to please women, right? Because your shopping women are only going to do at the end of the day.
As a joke, women can never be pleased forever.
That's true.
As a reality, men get pleased very easily. So why don't you start the shoes category for men as well? That's a thought to go.
We will discuss this.
Before I conclude, let's do a rapid fire.
Perfect.
So let's do a quick style check.
Sure.
So minimal or statement?
Minimal always.
One thing you'll never compromise in design?
Comfort.
Trend you secretly don't like?
Loud logos.
Heels or flats? What defines confidence today? One word for OCD at day 0.
Heels or flats. Confidence is something that you make yourself. So it's a statement that you make. It's not the shoe.
Uncomfortable shoe makes you limp. So your confidence is lost when you don't have the right stance
comfortable. To walk. OCD. OCD shoes. At OCD, heels or flats.
So one word for OCD today.
Dream coming to life.
A brand you admire for its identity.
Nike.
What makes something timeless?
Its potential to live through generations, and genuinely the definition of timeless. It's something that doesn't get swayed very easily.
Okay, last one. You have to finish this statement. Great style is
something that you own.
Fantastic. So that was awesome. I really enjoyed this conversation, and friends, her complete lifestyle has been to create styles for women in the shoes category. Now she has ventured into the bags category. These are huge categories, and style today has become so momentary and changes so often that again for a product company those are brilliant opportunities, and may they be so that your tribe multiplies and grows. So that's the young India that we are witnessing. It was fabulous interacting with Neha Kumthekar, and before we say a bye to the camera, I would love to gift you something that I very proudly co-own. That is a very beautiful brand. It's called Sugandh Lok, which definitely changes the ambience whenever you use it. These are fragrance sticks, these are dhoop, multiple products, and this is the quality that we believe in. So if you see, there is a lot of products, lot of variety, and even when you open it, the fragrance and the ambience in the room changes. So Sugandh Lok is again like what you said, it's an experience. It will make you feel very comfortable. So that's for you. This is a gift from Sugandh Lok to Neha Kumthekar.
Thank you so much.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And God bless you.
Lovely chatting with you.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you so much.
Thank you.